Hello, my name is Eric. Welcome to another Code With Me session. Working on our Kanban tracker again, and we're getting close to being done. I've got my Figma file open here, and I just need to figure out what's next. The last video, if you didn't see, I'll link up top. We fixed our edit functionality, so now everything is working as intended there, where if we have a board and we make an edit to something, if I make an edit without changing the status, here is my edit. And if I do still have to change this, so we'll do that real quick. If I hit what should be edit task, build UI for onboarding flow won't move. It's still there. My edit is there. But if I make an edit, here is another edit. And if I change the status at that time and we switch to doing, it will push to the bottom. It'll push the end of the array for that doing column. And that's the process I want to see happen. So I've got a number of things. I've got this I need to do something with, and I forget what it is. So we'll look at the Figma file. New column I also have to do something with. Right now it's just adding a test column. I've got this down here, which right now is just kind of floating around as I increase or decrease the window size, and at a certain point it's going to overlap stuff. So I haven't thought about that one yet, but we need to fix it. So I don't know. I don't really know what I want to do yet. We're going to actually, I can keep that open. We're gonna look around and see what's next and see what calls me. Also, as of this point on these Code With Me videos, I really haven't done any editing whatsoever. This is probably going to be the first time I do that because I want to think about stuff. I want to look around. So I do have to do this still. This board is empty. Create a new column to get started. But I think I'm more interested in doing something a little more intricate. So I don't have the right setup here for my Navbar, actually. Right? And my button isn't correct on the larger sizes. So maybe we look at that. Let me jot some of these things down somewhere. Let's go to my main app file. And let's just, right up at the top here, let's just do a quick to-do list. We're going to have the board is empty, create new column, which is in like the board list view. I think we're going to need to adjust the navbar. Button spacing, I'll know what that means. And size text at larger screen, right? We've got that already. What are the other things I really want to do here? I don't know that I'm going to do this yet just because I just want to be done with this one. But they've got different colors here for the different columns. There's no explanation as far as I'm aware on this thing is what, if we just repeat those three colors over and over again, if there's more colors that are supposed to be there, like I don't even, if I've got 4 columns, what's that 4th color going to be? There's no examples in the Figma file. If I've got 10 columns, what are those 10 colors going to be? I mean, I have the freedom, I guess, to do what I want, but I don't know. I just don't love the color coding thing in general here. So I might forego it. I might do it. That's just kind of, we'll see how that goes. Oh, of course, our new column button, right? Let's not forget about putting that in there. New column button in board view, right? Got that, which the functionality already works. I just need to the basic, which I just have to set up a little modal, which, I guess we'll make a note, set up modal, I think is what I need to do. And let's keep scrolling through this and see what's here. We've got this done. We've got this done, the add new task. We've got several videos on those as well. I do have a whole playlist on this whole project as well that if I remember, I'll link as well. We've got the edit task. Got to do my, okay, save changes is what they want, right? So let's go write that down too. Edit modal button should say save changes. Add new board we've got, and that's done and working. Edit board. Do I have an edit board function? I guess I don't, right? I think that's one we're going to need to do. Edit board modal. I'm pretty sure I already have delete this board as well as delete this task. We'll check that. Let's, I guess, check that right now. So this doesn't do anything. Actually, I've got delete this task, which my color coding isn't working. So let's make a note to fix that. Delete modal theme light dark. I've got it set up. I guess it's just, or do I? I think I have it set up. We'll figure that out. And the delete task is working. I guess I don't have a delete board thing because I don't have the option, but I know I programmed it out in the delete modal. So we need a way for user to navigate to delete board, which I think is that 3-button thing. I think that's what that's going to be. Navigate to delete board modal. 3-button menu, or hamburger menu if you prefer. Maybe I wasn't as close to being done with this as I originally thought, but I don't know. Some of these are going to be just quick adjustments to things, I think, right? Delete this board, delete this task. It's the same modal. I have that set up already. All right. So I didn't see running through this, the functionality. Let's check the second row here of stuff, right? This is just showing me some hover effects, which I think I'm already fine on. Yeah, okay, here you go. So the 3-button, it has an edit board and delete board pop-up. All right, so 3-button menu. Let's just make this a 3-button menu, edit, delete board, pop-up. Let's continue on our way here. We've done this edit and delete task pop-up and this whole thing. Oh, I didn't do any sort of validation yet. So that's another. We'll do validation for all forms, right? I think I'm going to leave that to the very end, or end-ish, but need to do that. There's a delete this board button, and I think that's the end of that. And everything else is here just in different views, so I'm not going to navigate through again except for mobile view, which I've got this stuff set up already. And I do actually know from the last video, I need to go back and I need to review my mobile sizing stuff in CSS for my modals. So let's do review sizing for modals in mobile views. Cool. That seems like a fairly comprehensive list of things we need to get done. What am I driven to? I guess I haven't really done much CSS stuff in a while, so I guess I'm kind of jonesing for it. Let's do that. I'm going to close all my files that are open here because this is a mess, and if I'm not working on something, I don't want it open. Let's go back up to so on tablet view. Actually, this is going to be the same on every view, right? The button, the size of the button changes, and what's displayed in the button changes, right? It's what I have right now, this roundish, ovalish button with the plus sign in it. And when we hit our larger views, then it becomes plus sign, add new task, right? And it looks like, from what I can see, that plus sign is not the same as this plus sign. And I'm pretty sure the thing I actually have there is an image. How am I handling that? Let's go look. First, let's go to my navbar.tsx. I may have just put that plus sign in there with CSS. I don't really know. My navbar with some show menu stuff. here's the button with the show add task, right? And you can see my button in this, between the button tags, I don't have anything there, right? So this is just complete CSS for how I'm displaying that. So in this, I've got my ID of Navbar. When I set up my CSS, I really like to use IDs to group things together. Like, here's where my Navbar stuff starts, and here's all the stuff within that Navbar, right? And then I've got some non-ID labeled stuff, and then I've got my theme toggle ID and all the stuff within theme toggle. Here's a media break, and you can see I've got delete modal ID, board view ID. So like, I don't know, it just, especially with the theme I use here, this really stands out to me and just helps me look through my CSS stuff. And also like my utility classes and whatever other classes might be there. And then my basic and mobile styling and everything I can do there. And then we expand out, right, to your mobile first development, because then we scroll down and eventually we're going to hit, unless I already missed it, and the tablet styling. And then we do what we do there, the minimal adjustments just to make things bigger or whatever. And then we go to desktop styling, which here I haven't had to do anything in desktop styling yet. Everything in tablet has just carried over very nicely. So let's do a couple things. I guess the first thing we should do is adjust this navbar so that we've got the spacing. And all we're really trying to do here, no matter what view we're in, is we'll flex this and we'll do like space between so that this, what can I draw here? So that this box of stuff and this box of stuff have the space between them adjust automatically, right? Depending on where we're at right? Because here you see now this just kind of expands itself, but it's still, let's call it this box of stuff and this box of stuff. And here's the space between them that we want to be automatic or controlled by flexbox, right? And then we look at the same thing up top. And here is this box of stuff and this box of stuff and the space between them, which I shouldn't need to do any sort of breakpoints here, right? I should be able to set this up in mobile and oops, and have it carry over. Come on, give me the line. There we go, and have that carry over through all the different views here. So let's review what my code is doing here. So this is my whole navbar. Where is the end of this div? Drops down to here. This whole thing is my navbar, where I've got my little logo right here. I've got my, this is a button. It's not active in larger views. I believe I have click events disabled on this thing by CSS in larger views until we shrink down into more of a mobile format, and then this becomes active. So that's not a JavaScript thing, that's a CSS thing. JavaScript shows that menu, controls the display of that menu with the visible, select set visible of the select board thing, and the show menu here with that click, right? Then we've got the button for adding the task and the burger menu. So my problem here is that I did not set these up in the boxes that they need to be, right? This is just right now one giant box of stuff in the navbar. And to kind of further explain what I mean by that, if I go into my developer tools and I use this little, what is this called? Select an element in page to inspect it. I don't know, it's like a hover thing, right? And you can hover over all your stuff and you can see that this is an overlay. This whole menu is an overlay based on how it's positioned. But you can see the entire block of this navbar that I have, and each of these elements is its own little block, right? But the marketing plan's in there, but I want to separate this out and this out so that navbar is already flexed, but if I do space between right now, it's going to space everything out, right? So let's go back, let's find Navbar. There's Navbar. And I'm already flexing it, right? Display flex. Let's see if we do justify content space between, and you're going to see that stuff kick out, right? Because there's no containment here. And this is going all sorts of wonky here, and it's even cutting off the 3-button menu. That's going out into space somewhere, and I can't even see it. All right, so I think something else I might need to do here, depending on how this works out for us, is I might need to adjust the way this nav bar is being displayed. I've got this menu here, and I've got margin next to this nav bar, and next to this whole thing, that orange section is margin, right? That's pushing this out. And then when I collapse that nav bar, that margin goes away, and then everything is just against the side here, right? So, and now I can see that button again, right? But if I'm scrolling, I'm not scrolling the entire browser window. I'm only scrolling this highlighted section here. That's the only thing that has a scroll horizontal. Everything else is off. So we're probably going to have to do a couple things with this nav bar to make it really work out the way we want it to work out. But step one is going to be, let's put these things in boxes, or divs, right? Let's contain these things together so that as we drew this out, we've got a box around the title of the element and the button, the plus sign button, and the 3-dot button. Also, I'm also not handling this, right? It looks like that only displays on the smaller views. So we're gonna have to adjust that too. Yeah, because here it's gone, right? So maybe we go ahead and do that first. Do I have a class name? I have a class name as mobile logo here, right? And in CSS, here's my navbar. Here's my navbar mobile logo. And now let me just go up to the tablet view, or down to the tablet view. Let me find my navbar. I have navbar and board view stuff here because I've got some combined things here, but I'm in navbar, so let's throw this back in here and we can just do display none for that. Right now that just disappeared for us, but I am going to have to, I think, nope, it's fine. That was enough for that. So as we expand out, we see that button where that logo goes away. When we come back to our smaller views, it pops back for us. Awesome. And now let's box those things, right? I don't know if this is going to mess up any of my other CSS, but let's take a look. I don't know that I need to call this anything right now, but let's do this. It's going to be the logo, and the button needs to be contained in a div. And we don't see the difference, right? Because, oh, you know what? It looks like, yeah, there we go. We're gonna have to make these flex, right? We're gonna see that on both parts here. Now let's do another div here around the show task button and the burger menu button. And that's gonna stack for us as well. It's a little weird, but there you go, that's that. And I guess we can call these, I don't know, because they're gonna have maybe the same stuff between them. We'll call it nav, inner nav box, I guess. I don't know. Let's see if I can get away with calling these the same thing. And now let's go back up to make sure I'm in my mobile menu here, and find my nav bar again. Nav bar, Navbar dark, Navbar logo, Navbar menus. Right, let's, I think I just throw it right here. Is Navbar, and then my class name of inner nav box. And these are going to be display of flex, right? And we see right now that just shifted immediately on both of these. What is the spacing here on things? So it looks like, I zoom in on this one here. And this spacing and this spacing look very similar to me. Can I actually see what they are? We've got 16 pixels and 16 pixels. That's fantastic. Makes my life really easy because now I'm going to get rid of console for a minute. Because now we look at this mobile view. The only thing I need to do here is put a gap in there and of 16 pixels. And boom, we've got our spacing. And it also looks like right now, here at least, with no menu and no margin, that it's working out with our spacing being set automatically in between these things, right? And that's almost done. Let's see how we look now. See, as soon as I push this over, that's the end of my screen over there. And I can't scroll, right? So what do we want to do? Well, my margin here is 261 pixels. You can see on this little, I can't hover over it, but that little pop-up that's showing up here now, we've got 261 pixels of margin. Let's bring that over. Which basically means that my width of this nav bar is 261 pixels off of the screen, right? Going that way, going this way over here. And I need to compensate for that. So I've got some stuff set up already, not in the mobile section, because in the mobile section, we can't have this menu. But I have some stuff already set up for tablet menu when we can start opening this side menu. And let's go see what I did here, right? I've got this data attribute that I created on both the nav bar and the board view that basically say when sidebar is hidden, here's what my margin is and here's the transition. And when the sidebar is showing, here's what my margin is. And that's what I'm getting. That's how I'm doing this slide out thing for the most part. Besides actually showing the sidebar itself too, right? That's doing some width stuff. But that's collapsing and this margin is adjusting. So when the sidebar is showing here, I guess what I really want is I want this space in between or something over here to be maybe negative pixels, right? I can do that, I think. Let's play around with it. But right now in my mobile setup, we just did justify content space between, right? I've got a width here, right, of 100%. But if I were to do like min width, if we do calc 100% minus 261 pixels, right? Now we just see our little other section here just kind of slid back into view. So that's what I'm going to want to do then to compensate for how much real estate this navbar has on the actual display port, right? To determine what space between these two blocks means, right? So I'm not going to adjust this section, but I'm going to copy this and let's undo that because this is still at mobile view going to be 100%, right? And if I go back down to my tablet view where this stuff starts, and if I look at these with the sidebar hidden and data sidebar hidden, that stuff, right? I know my navbar is going to need some different settings now than my board view does, but this margin left and margin left, these 2 pixel settings are the same. So I'll just add another one of these. We'll do it up top here. Why not? And let me do this, right? And this is going to be specifically for navbar when the data is hidden, right? When that sidebar is hidden, then my min width is a calc value of 100% minus 261 pixels. Actually, not hidden, show, when it's on show. There we go. So now when that show, we see that it comes back in here. If I hide the sidebar, now this stays exactly where it is, right? Because when this data isn't show, when it's hidden, this won't be calculated and it should just default back to the min width of 100% that was in our mobile view. And I mean, this looks like it's working out for us. It's sliding the right stuff over. If I bring this down to mobile view, there we go. I've got the right, or a smaller view under tablet view, my breakpoint. It's doing its thing. I've got transitions on stuff, so it's sliding around a little bit, but I kind of like that. It's a little laggy because of my screen recording here, but it's a little bit nicer than things just kind of snapping right to position. You know, as that kind of slides out as we move things over here. But yeah, that worked out very easily, right? So now we've got our space between. We've got Navbar controls the amount of padding that's going on here on both ends, and we look good. Nice and easy. Just Navbar button spacing, done, easy. And Navbar size text at larger screen. So this is just the button we were talking about, right? So we need to change this to say plus add new task. So how do I want to go about this? Let's look at what I've already got going in my CSS. We're in my tablet view, so I want to get out of there, right? And I want to make sure I'm back at my top section with my Navbar stuff. All right, so we're back at Navbar in my mobile view for CSS. What did I call that button? It has a class name of just add. Just add. Not very good, but that's what I called it. So here's navbar.add. And you can see here, it's got background color of my primary, which is this purple. The inside color is the 100 neutral, which is a white. My width and height are set, defined. My border radius is there. No border. I've got a background image. That's how that's being displayed in there, right? Background size, no repeat, etc., etc. So I've got some options here, and I think I might just make this easy on myself and control this just with CSS. You know, you could do some crazy JavaScript stuff, and you could do like a set a variable for your viewport width and do ternary operators and have a display and etc., etc. But you could have two different buttons if you really wanted to. And display one or the other, and I don't think that's worth any of the effort here. You know, one of the areas that I'm a little bit weaker at that I admittedly need to go back and really check out are screen reader stuff with screen readers and accessibility. So that's on my list of things to cover, and maybe we do a video series about that as well. I don't think that's often covered, but let's make this easy for today and just do this with CSS. So we're gonna go and we're just gonna take we know our navbar stuff is in here. We have a background image, but what our goal is gonna be is when we hit our tablet size, we're just gonna change the size of the button, right? We got a size here. This is tablet size. What does this look like? 192.62 by oh no, 164 by 48. That's what that is, right? And if we go up to the desktop view, we're 164.48. And if we look here, 164.48, so that doesn't change, right? So if we do our navbar.add, we go down to our tablet view, here's our navbar stuff. I'm going to throw this right here. Navbar.add. I don't need to change anything here with the colors. And our width and height are going to change. 164 by 48. 164.48. If we save that, we should see an immediate adjustment. Woo! That's a lot bigger. That's accurate? I guess so, huh? It looks like the border radius is going to have to change, right? This is a lot more oval, rounded than what we've got here, and It doesn't, I don't see it here. Oops, let's see. I see 24. See, this is the benefit of subscribing to Frontend Mentor. You get your Figma files, and doing this kind of stuff is a lot nicer. So this is a 24 pixel border radius. And boom, we've got those nicer rounded edges. Still no border, but I don't need to change that. So now my background image stuff is still here, right? But I want to do background image. Let's just get rid of it. Like I could just do none and get rid of this stuff. And now that just goes away for us, right? So I could do before and after, and I could just do content. So we can do navbar dot add with a pseudo class of I guess let's do after. And let's do content, and we'll just do that for now. Or let's put some test in there. Test, right? And there we go. That's showing up right in the middle already. So you know what? I could honestly just do what is the plus add new task, right? We could do plus add new task. And is that good enough for me here? You know, I don't have a hover effect on this. That's the thing I got to do, I guess, which is a little bit weird because I thought I had hover effects on all my buttons, but we'll go back. But hey, that's there. Add new task. Cool. I like this one. I think we've gotten that figured out. Are my hover effects just broken on everything? It looks like something broke my hover effects on the purple buttons, but I don't exactly know why yet. Button primary hover. Oh, I wonder if, so I've got hover effects listed on my utility classes for my buttons. What is this button in the navbar? It doesn't even have anything on there, right? So I guess maybe I did some of this before I made my utility classes, maybe a little bit of out of order. And this is just background color stuff, right? So this is button primary. My color in there is neutral. My background colors is 400. So if I just take my button primary class, and if I just add that in here, it's not going to let me do. Oh, nope, I'm sorry. I do have a class. It's just down here. We've got add. Of course, I just did it. And button primary. So now if I go back, and let's go back to my add class, because I think I can get rid of some of the stuff that's in there now, right? Here's my add. I don't need colors in there anymore, but I do want the rest of this stuff. And now when I've got my hover effect, now it's back. Lovely. Same thing over here. Let's go look at my sidebar real quick, because we also know this is going to be button primary. So my sidebar is there with the logo, and then I've got this board list, right? So we have to go into the board list, which is here in my navbar folder. I'm mapping through the names of the boards here, and I'm returning a button for each name in that list. Right now, the class name is active if visible matches whatever the name is. So every time I click this, right, my on click set visible to whatever the name is. Going each name, or mapping each name. So the name is platform launch. If I click this, then visible is set to platform launch. So if visible is equal to the name of that particular button, then it's active. Otherwise, I just have it as undefined. And I guess I need to just change this because I can't make this button primary. Oops. Otherwise, undo please. Otherwise, this is going to be these are all going to look purple. So I just need to make sure that active has a hover state. So let's find active. Here we go, button active, right? Which I guess technically I could make this a utility class as well, but just for the sake of doing a quick fix here, we'll do button active, and then we'll add the hover state here. And I don't know offhand what number this is. I want to guess and say 300. No? 200? It's not working at all. Throw an important flag there and make sure something happens. It's not happening. Let's look at what this is showing for us. This is in sidebar board list. Button is active. Does it have something to do with my dark mode? It doesn't. Button class is active. What if I just get rid of... Oh, wait, actually. There we go. I had an extra colon in there, didn't I? So we can get rid of this and we can bring back our color primary. I think 300 is the one we want. And I guess the important flag there was necessary for some reason. I'll have to debug this a little bit more, but for right now that's working out. If I hover over that, it gives me the nice lighter color and all my other hover effects are still working. Right, and this is because this is floating around a lot, but we'll fix that eventually. See, now it has the right spacing. And there we go. And the add new test button works. So that was a fun little fix on the navbar. We'll tackle this again in the next video. We'll make this button work and we'll throw in all the logic to start making those adjustments to the boards. So thanks for joining and we'll see you again next time.